Hello, Platinum family. Welcome to the second edition of Platinum Unplugged. I'm Red Sowie, patient advocate for Dr. Reva Rawl, and I'm joined today with Dr. Michael Chapman and Dr. Emily Hebert.
Hello.
Hello.
We've got some emails from our last episode we did that we want to answer today with you guys. But first off, I had a question for you. What are you guys doing at home right now during your shelter in place to keep busy and keep from going a little insane?
Well, obviously, some homeschooling. My kids are a little bit older, so they're better able to navigate that world, I think, than folks who've got younger kids like Dr. Chapman. Trying to keep the house clean, that's important, especially during this time. Exercising, staying fit, getting out, yard work, all the things that we would be doing anyways, on top of a little bit more outside activity when possible.
What about you, Dr. Chapman?
That's a great question. There's a lot going on in the Chapman household. I think I have the whole entire Frozen 2 soundtrack memorized by this point. I've been getting my tail kicked on a nightly basis with Monopoly, the old school Monopoly. We're talking, the 3 to 4 hour game. A lot of basketball in the room, a lot of basketball doing that, bike rides, and really I got to give a shout out to my wife Carolyn and just her management of 3 kids ranging from 16 to 8 and trying to get the school stuff done, a lot of emails, managing meals and everything else that's going on. Also, we are doing a lot of cleaning on the weekends. So we spend about 5 hours this weekend with teaching the kids how to clean toilets and showers and vacuum and floors and everything else. So everyone's kind of pitching in.
Essential jobs.
Yes.
Yes. Should we show them what we're doing around the clinic to keep busy?
That would be great.
Okay.
Now I am pooped after that wonderful game of football. Rhett, any questions from our Platinum folks?
Yeah, so let's dive into those right now. So first and foremost, they want to know, when do you guys think, or what's your best guess of when this is all going to be over?
That's a good question, and actually this is some encouraging news. As of a few days ago, it looked like the peak was going to be in early May, around May 5th. And according to new data, and I attribute that to everyone sheltering at home and social distancing, it looks like the peak is now April 19th. And so, with that, I actually do have a little bit of data here, because one of the questions we get is, hospitalization, ICU bed availability. And if you want to look at this website, this is state-specific and country-specific, but this is covid19.healthdata.org. And at the peak in 2019, on April 19th, as far as hospital beds, the need is going to be about 3,682, with over 28,000 beds still being available. So we're not seeing a shortage in general hospital beds. With the ICU, it looks like about 712 beds being needed, with another 2,259 available. So again, zero shortage in Texas on beds. So do your due diligence, social distancing, stay at home unless it's absolutely necessary to get out.
Absolutely.
All right, going into another question from one of our Platinum members. He asks, his wife received flowers for her birthday. Delivery person was wearing a mask and gloves. What's the risk?
Great question. We get this question a lot about packages being brought in. How do we handle them? Should we clean them? Should we leave them outside for a period of time? I think in terms of a floral delivery, if it comes in its own packaging, getting rid of the packaging, placing it in a vase, and then making sure to wash your hands once you're done contacting all those pieces, that's perfect. If it comes in its own vase, bringing it in, setting it someplace, and then making sure to wash your hands with soap and water, you should be fine. There's no data that suggests that a plant or flower would be able to spread the COVID-19 virus at this point in time. And I think that also speaks to questions about groceries,
Correct.
Deliveries and things. Gosh, is there really a consensus on what to do when we get packages, when we bring our groceries in, or who should deliver our groceries even? Right. Is it better for me to go get them? Is it better to have somebody deliver them? I would say in terms of getting your groceries, having them delivered, really your risk is probably greater going out to the grocery store because you are going to contact many more people than just one delivery person. So I think having them delivered to your home, yes, you're going to have a stranger who is probably going to be wearing gloves and maybe wearing a mask, but you don't know if they're infected or not infected. But that's an easier scenario to manage and mitigate than I think how many people you might expose yourself to at the store, the things that you might come in contact with. So if you're able, grocery delivery is a great option. We know that there's a lot of long lines and long wait times for that at this point in time, but if it's possible, I think that's one option.
Can I add something there? I was going to say, my experience has been is that they drop them on the porch and then you receive a text that they're there and there's no interaction with the person. Now, I don't know community outside of Dallas what that may look like, but that's been our experience at home.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the food delivery service has been the same way. Mm-hmm. It's door to door, but not contact with people. And then in terms of what you should do with your groceries when you get them in the house, again, there's no firm data that supports doing anything really other than putting them away and washing your hands. But if you want to be extra careful, wipe down the boxes and the cartons with one of the bleach wipes if you have them, or a diluted version of some sort of cleaning supply. And then put all of that away, wash the area where you have the groceries, and then make sure, again, wash your hands really well with soap and water. So it's really mostly about your contact with those things and then making sure that whatever they contact is clean and that you wash your hands. And Dr. Chapman had pointed out earlier, it's a good idea maybe to leave those things in the pantry for a good 24 hours.
Yeah. So we talk about how long can this virus live on a surface, and what the NIH had put out last week is that it can remain aerosolized. That's it, right?
It's aerosolized.
It's airborne.
You're
It's just airborne. Tongue twister. For 3 hours. That it can live on cardboard or paper for 24 hours, and steel or other hard surfaces for up to and plastics for up to 3 days. That's why it's important after you receive the containers, take the food out, throw what it was transported in away immediately. Then sanitize or wash your hands again.
Yes, exactly.
It's a lot of hand washing.
It's a lot of hand washing.
I don't know. You can tell I'm a little dry.
Yeah, a lot of lotion.
You moisturize though, don't you?
I do. I'm washing my hands so much.
That's
right.
Man,
gotta have a
yeah,
soft
alcohol hand sanitizer
exactly.
will dry you right
It'll
out.
tear it up. So that kind of goes into our last question. We've been getting some questions about the meds that they've been talking about that are coming available, are available. What can you speak to about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of information out there. I think the consensus right now is that there is no known absolute treatment for COVID-19 right now. There are several medications that we are hopeful that in the future will be shown to be beneficial and really help the gravely ill patients that are hospitalized on ventilators with COVID. Two of those that have been discussed a lot in the news and by the COVID task force are hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, which again, they're in the process of studying these and there's no concrete data that shows a benefit yet. But you also can't even get your hands on those in local pharmacies at this point in time. Another medication that they've discussed as a possible agent in fighting off COVID is called remdesivir, and I did have to look at my paper because that was a hard one to say. It is an immune modulator, so to speak, that they use for certain types of autoimmune arthritis. And there's been some positive data in patients that have been treated with it. So again, we still don't have the silver bullet yet, but I know that they're working on it and they're working at it diligently.
Right. And so I actually contacted a few of the pharmacies to see what is the availability, and there really isn't at this point. The other thing what you got to think about when requesting medications is, these come with side effects too. I mean, these are not harmless medications, and although the side effects are generally few, they can be quite severe. Let's just take the hydroxychloroquine. I mean, the risk of retinopathy, which is disease of the eye, and cardiac arrhythmias that can occur. Again, not real prevalent, but the risk is not zero.
Absolutely, good point.
So what about some parting thoughts, some words of wisdom for our patients out there?
I think one of the questions that we talked about before we started the podcast was mail.
Oh yeah.
We had chatted a bit about how to manage mail
Right.
You have any thoughts, Dr. Chapman?
I think on the mail, again, remember cardboard, paper surfaces, 24 hours. So, washing your hands before you get the mail, bringing it into a certain area of the house where you're going to sort the mail, opening the mail up, take out the contents, throw away the envelopes and the boxes, and then wash your hands again. It's just, it's kind of I feel like we're saying a lot, it's wash, remove, repeat.
Yeah, no.
And washing your area.
Yeah,
So
and
any
washing
pla-
the surface.
Wash your
Good-
surface.
good point.
That's why the kitchen is
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the busiest room of the house
Yeah.
most days, and now because it's easy to clean as well, it's a good place to have your staging area for mail, packages, etc.
I think also just, in the parting thoughts, just stay the course of social distancing and sheltering at home. We will get through this, but that is of paramount importance at this point. And also, I was reading earlier in the week, there have been a few studies that come out that said 50% of people infected with COVID did not express symptoms. Well, that's quite alarming. I mean, so what are our numbers? Well, the only thing you can do is just shelter in place.
Right.
And also, that's why we had mentioned last time of wearing a mask, a cloth, a face covering, something to prevent asymptomatic spread among people in the community.
Absolutely.
No. All right.
Great.
Good.
All right.
Well, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Platinum Unplugged. Please send your questions to Ronnie. We will be going through those and answering them again on our next video.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister Trudeau. We need to work together to flatten the curve and fight off COVID-19. I think in times of crisis, I think we all know that it's the celebrities that we count on most. They're the ones who are going to get us through this. Right after healthcare workers, of course, first responders, people who work in essential services, ping pong players, mannequins. They're great. Childhood imaginary friends, sure, like 400 other types of people. Look, stay at home, practice social distancing, wash your hands. We are gonna get through this thing. We're gonna get through this thing together. And I'd like to nominate these three great Canadians to spread the word. Mr. Stephen Page, Constable Terry Reynolds of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and Mr. Seth Rogen of the Point Grey Rogans.